Hi, my name's Mel. I'm coming to you from Modern Movement, a yoga studio. I would like to share a practice for you that looks at, moves through the phases of, and helps to reorientate and eliminate stress. If you're a modern human living in a modern world, this is something that's going to be useful for you. The first thing about stress that I would like to walk you through is what stress actually looks and feels like. So if you're in the middle of a stress response, you can just sit comfortably where you are and not join me for this part. But if you're feeling like you have a buoyant system, sunny day where you are, it's helpful for you to have a felt experience of what stress is. You will need a floor, perhaps a mat. I'm sitting on a block. If you're at home and you have a block, great. If you don't have a block, also great. It's nice to have maybe a rolled up t-shirt, towel, blanket, something that you can use to elevate your sitting bones because we're coming into a meditation in a moment. Before we come into the meditation, I would like to bring you into something called an anti-meditation, the opposite of a meditation, which means we're going to trigger a stress response so that you understand physically what stress does. Come onto all fours, please. And as you come onto all fours, draw your knees together. Tuck your 10 toes under. Quite common for the little toe to try to escape. So if you need to, you can use your hands to kind of get your little toe under so that all 10 toes are in. If you wear high heels or tight shoes for a living, this is going to be interesting for you straight away. If you need a little bit less sensation at any point, you can come forward, bring your fingers or your hands onto the floor, and you can come out of the toes when you need. Otherwise, we're going to be in it for about a minute. Hands can come up onto your thighs or bring your thumbs into the inner palms, wrap your forefingers around your thumbs so that you make fists. And then pull your elbows in towards your rib cage. Let your shoulders wrap up around your ears and pull your heart into your body. Let your chin curl to your chest, close your eyes, and squeeze your eyeballs shut. Start to breathe in through the top lobe of your lungs really shallow, and then exhale. Inhale really shallow into the upper lobe and then exhale and just continue breathing these short, sharp, shallow, rapid breaths. And as you're doing this, just imagine the last really crap thing that happened that sent you into a stress response. So it might have been you were headed to work, you jumped in the car, traffic was way worse than you thought it was going to be, and you realized there's no way you're going to make it to this meeting on time, pedal to the metal. Or maybe it was when you were preparing for the meeting and you were trying to figure out what it was you wanted to present and that feeling of everyone listening and watching you. You choose something that happened very recently that you felt very stressful. Put yourself in the moment and then feel this breath coming up into the upper channel of the lungs. And what I want you to experience is this moment of discomfort and the physiology of stress. The blood starts to increase as the heart rate starts to increase. But the blood isn't moving through the center column of the body. The blood starts to move through the arms and the legs. A little stress stimulus goes into the brain, and the brain starts to create a chemical called ACTH, which then channels down into the kidneys to produce more adrenaline, more cortisol. So the blood starts to go faster. The heart starts to pump faster, and the lungs start to breathe even more shallow. We're preparing the arms and the legs to run from a stranger in a dark alley or this potential danger. Stay with me. You've got just a few more breaths. And as you're in here, I want you to imagine, what if I said, lie down and fall asleep, just as you are right now? Or what if I said, go say something really lovely to your partner or your children? In this physical experience of the toes cramping and the fingers cramping and the eyes drawing in, it's unlikely you're going to be operating as your best self. So just notice, where does stress feel like? Take one more big breath. Okay, you can blink your eyes open. Let your shoulders roll back. Let your fists release. Bring your hands forward if you haven't already. Untuck your toes. And then just let the tops of your feet pat on the floor a few times so that you get blood moving back into the feet. You can scrunch and release the feet a few times. And when that's feeling a little bit alleviated, you can let your hips come back towards your heels, and you might lift your kneecaps just a little bit, one at a time. Again, just to release all that work we've just done through the front of the feet and the shins. And once that is settled, now find a comfortable seat. Can be on your block if you have one at home, can be on your cushion, or just a rolled up blanket is fine. What we want is the hips now to be slightly higher than the knees. You can kneel, Cross-legged is my chosen seat, so if cross-legged works for you, it can be one ankle just in front of the other, hips just slightly higher than the knees. Allow your palms to face down on your thighs. It creates a slight grounding effect, and where you've just been is the opposite of that. So with the physiology, the feeling of a stress response, very recent, imprinted into your system, take a moment to close your eyes and just feel the after effect of that. That anti-meditation is so important for us to embody because most of us are walking around, that pose is called angry toes pose. Most of us are mentally living in angry toes pose. That feeling of discomfort and contracture and the feeling of pain in the body, that upregulation of the heart rate, of hormones, and of stress. So sit here with me now and just bathe in what comes after that. So we have the hard conversation, we hang up the phone, but my guess is that you're a lot like me. Stress lingers even after the moment has passed. You're rushing to get to the meeting, you get out of the car, but then the whole day is this cascade of impossible, challenging situations kickstarted by this crazy stress. So what I'd like to show you now is the maneuvering out of these stress states. There's one important question to begin with. As you look inward, eyes closed if that feels comfortable for you, where do I feel this in my body? Remove the word stress. Try not to label the feelings. As though you didn't know what stress was, you didn't know what anxiety was, you didn't know what rush was. Remove the word. When you take away the label, you can take away the power that comes with it. So I'll ask again, where do I feel this? So maybe this, the symptom, feels like a racing heartbeat. And where is in the chest? When I think about that challenging situation, maybe what I feel is a churning or a slimy kind of flip-flop in my stomach. Maybe I feel a contracture, almost like a choking somewhere in my throat. So what does the feeling physically feel like? And where do I feel it? The technique I'd like to show you is called drop in and drop through. When the body has a physical sensation, it needs your attention to move it. So rather than doing what you and I always do, which is just push past and move on, I'm asking you to go there. If it's your belly, if it's your heart, if it's your throat, if it's somewhere else, go there and feel it. This is the dropping in. Now the second part is the dropping through. Squeeze the area that you feel. Now this part can be a little bit tricky, but trying to do it is the same as doing it. So if it's a stickiness in your belly, try to squeeze the tissues of the belly. If it's a racing heart, try to squeeze the tissue around your heart. And wherever it is in the body, just squeeze. Stress creates a disjointing of the neural fibers. We move out of flow because physically things start to separate in the body. Synapses don't connect anymore. So as you squeeze, you can start drawing them back together, kind of like you were hot wiring a car. Squeeze the tissue together. And now as you squeeze and hold, we come to part 3 of the practice. Bring your awareness to the space above the crown of your head. Now imagine your body as though it was a straw. Breathe in from the space above your head and fill up your belly, as though you were breathing down the straw of your spine to fill up your belly. As you exhale, Feel the breath continue down the straw of the legs and out through your feet. Bring your awareness to the space below your feet. Inhale up as you fill up the belly. Exhale from the belly, out the straw and up through the crown of your head. Okay, this time we're going to add awareness to the top of your head. Breathe in. And as you breathe through the body, that area that you're squeezing, allow part of that tissue to move with the breath into the belly. And then as you exhale, let part of that area you were squeezing go with the breath out of the feet and down into the earth. Inhale from underneath the feet, inhale into the belly. And then as you exhale from the belly, again, just grab a tiny part of the area you're squeezing. Let it come as though you were slurping it into the straw of the center column, out the top of your head. Inhale from above your head into the belly. Take part of the area you're squeezing in. Exhale from the belly, down and through the feet. Inhale from beneath the feet, fill up your belly. Exhale up, and as the breath washes past wherever area you're squeezing, let part of that tenderness come up and out through the top of your head. Just continue this breathing pattern through the center channel of the body. And the quest is that every time you take a round of in and exhale breath, part of the area you're squeezing becomes a little bit softer as part of that discomfort or part of that excess moves into the channel of breath and is then slowly eradicated up through the head and or down through the feet. And just continue on your own for a moment. If there's more of that feeling, whether it's the stickiness or the flopping or the contraction, just squeeze it again. And you want to squeeze as much as you need to just tell the body, I hear you. I know what you're trying to tell me. I'm here listening. I've got you. The opposite of anxiously running in the other way, covering it with a Band-Aid. The opposite of a depressed, stifle it away and drown in it. Quite authentically showing up to give rise and space to every element of whatever this feeling is. To allow the body to do what it always does, which is to move through. Continue the practice of squeezing this sensation and breathing it up and out until you eventually find yourself in a steady seat where there is nothing left except for the breath. And this practice works in the middle of a stress response. This practice works in the middle of a shame spiral. And this practice works for a lot of words, whatever the feeling is, or whatever needs to be removed, or eliminated, or witnessed. Try not to label the feeling, try not to label the moment. Notice the tendencies, the qualities, the patterns of what the body is feeling. Move into the body until you feel it move out of your body. And I will leave you here in this steady, sweet seat of breath until you feel ready to move forward with whatever lies ahead for you today. And thank you very much for joining me on a practice that has changed many moments in my own life and in the lives of so many people that I get to sit alongside. I hope it makes great change and benefit for you. Wishing you all the best on your journey. Namaste.